Hello everyone, let's back to our channel of GEP Maths first run. After the first video about the number pattern and the figure pattern, from the video 2, we move on to the fractions, and the fractions will continue for 4 videos to show you all the different type of the questions will be tested in the GEP Maths run about the fractions. Okay, so let's move on to the first tab. This tab is, I think, is the most easiest tab. Is about the equivalent fraction. So we all know for the equivalent fraction, for example, we all know 1 over 2 it equals 2 over 4 because we can make it bigger by multiply by the same number, or you can make it smaller by divide by the same number. Okay, so for this question, normally the question will give you some samples. They won't tell you what is the number. So you can use the hint from the question. What is our hint? For example, your 4 is changed to 16 in the next fraction. So how to change? It must apply some calculation, right? So the only thing we need to know about this one is we can only use times and divide when we change the equivalent fraction. Do not use plus and minus, okay? So here is multiply by 4. So we always multiply by the same number, so very easy. We will know this one is also multiplied by 4. So the triangle we know is 7 times 4 equals 28. So now for the last fraction, because the question is asking for the hardship, so I replace this triangle by 28. Okay, so for this one, you don't change 16 to 28 because we cannot apply the multiplication. So we apply the multiplication from the first number, from the 4 again, okay? So 4 turned to 28, we all know is multiplied by 7. So apply the same calculation for the denominator. So the denominator is 7 times 7. So we know the hardship is 49. Quite simple, right? Okay, so this is how we solve this fraction. Okay, so I'll give you another one. You can pause the video to have a try, see if you can get the correct answer. Okay, all right, hope you can already get the correct answer. So from this one again, let's look at this fraction. The key point is from 7, I will change to a 2-digit number, and this 2-digit number end with 8. Okay, so again, our calculation must be multiplication. So I recall the times table of 7, I only notice 7 times 4 equals 28. So here must times 4. Then our calculation should be very easy. You remember we see the equivalent fraction, top, bottom, numerator, denominator, it must times the same number. So the bottom must times 4 as well. So let's do the calculation for this 2-digit number. Okay, so 8 times 4 equals 32. So from here, we can double confirm that the square equals 3 and the hardship equals 2, and which is the same as 28, the first digit, the hardship is 2. Okay, so everything is correct, and question is asking for the square. So take note of the question carefully. What's the sample the question asking for? So the square equals 3. Done. So this is our answer. Okay, so hope you're already clear for this part, and we move on to the next one. So next one is how you understand this fraction. So if you join our course in P2, okay, so we will do a lot of similar question like this, right? So this is ask you to have some shapes. They have some shading parts. Then they ask you to write down the fraction based on the shading parts, or you need to do some calculations based on the shade part. Okay, so let's see this question. The question says, the model below is made up of 6 equal squares. What fraction of the figure is shaded? So how we do this one? We all know the fraction, the denominator is in mass out of, for example, 3 out of 4. So that 4 as a denominator means the whole thing you have to cut equally into 4 pieces. But our question here, some of them already cut into smaller triangle, but some of them are still square. So what can I do? We always do the cutting to cut into all the similar smaller triangles. Okay, one example of the cutting. So after we cut this one, we notice the smaller strip or in these squares are all the smaller triangles. So how we write down the fraction? What fraction of the figure is shaded? So the fraction, the numerator will be the shaded and out of the total, correct? Okay, so for this shaded parts, we do the counting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 smaller triangles out of the total. Okay, count carefully. Here should be a 12 smaller triangles. So this is 4 out of 12. Do not answer this one, okay? If you answer this one, it will mark as wrong. Okay, as we learn in our fractions, this is not the simplest form. Our answer for the fraction, it must always be the simplest form, unless the question states some number. They say no need to be simplest, or they request you to have a numerator of what number. Otherwise, it must always be the simplest form. Okay, so continue find the simplest form, which is 1/3. So for this question, the answer is 1/3. Okay, all right, then let's move on to the next one. Again, you can pause the video to have a try, see if you can understand or not. Okay, so let's see this one. The question says in this figure below, A, B, C, D. Okay, the biggest one is a square. E, F, G, H. Here is still a square. Then this J, K, L, M is still a square. So we have 3 squares and we have some shaded parts, 4 shaded triangles, right? So what fraction of the square ABCD is shaded? So we cannot anyhow guess, right? Okay, you have few options, but you cannot anyhow guess. So what should I do? Still the same. We do the cutting, correct? So we can cut diagonally. So now every smaller part is the same smaller triangles, correct? So again, in order to find what fraction of the whole figure is shaded, we must use the shaded parts out of the total. Shaded part is easy to count. It's just 4 smaller triangles. And when you count the total, please count carefully. You can label the number in each of the triangle. So you won't count extra, you will count more. You won't count less, or you won't miss out any triangles. Okay, so this is 16 smaller triangles in total. So we have 4 out of 16. So once you have 4 out of 16, as we see, you see the A, B, C, D, the option. None of them is 4/16. Why? You have to find the simplest form, right? So simplest form, we all divided by 4, which is 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 give us the answer for option A. Okay, so hope you are clear about these two types. These two types normally, like every year, they will test. So hope you don't have careless mistake and got it correct. Thank you for watching our today's video.